What's going on, everybody? My name is Tenebris.Infinite, and welcome back to Generation Zero. So, it's been about a week since I've last played GZ. I took a short break and managed to get myself pretty dang lost in Far Cry New Dawn. So, I was thinking, what better way to get back into the game than to take on a max-leveled rival apocalypse tank on Guerilla difficulty? In my video on the most recent player survey for GZ, I took on a Phoenix tank with a linear accelerator on Guerilla mode, and that was pretty darn tough, almost getting one shot every single time it managed to hit me. So this should be even more of a challenge to take on, as becoming a rival means that the health is boosted for every level the rival has, so we'll be having a real tanky tank with bang for its buck when it comes to its damage output. So while this fight plays out, I'm gonna kind of walk you dudes through my thoughts while I was fighting this guy, just in case if any of you ever plan on taking on a max level apocalypse tank in Guerilla difficulty, so you can have just like a little bit of a guideline to how you should go about this fight. So first and foremost, I was majorly avoiding the cluster bomb attack, and even kinda stayed more in the range of its machine gun than its mortar attachment, just to make sure that it wasn't lacing the area with bombs on bombs on bombs. As in Guerilla difficulty, each bomb can do about a quarter of your health with a proper Vanguard build here. And if they cluster up too much, you can get taken down really damn quickly just by the bombs alone. Whereas, even though the machine gun really packs a punch, its damage can be mitigated pretty simply from just a little bit of health kit stacking and proper health management. Now, you might be wondering why I'm not just going into melee range and kitting over the firewall attack, and that's due to this dang new LMG. It's sick and a ton of fun to fight with, and really great for taking care of stray ticks that the machines will drop off. But that lightning can be really deadly to your own health and safety if you don't pay attention. You'll wind up doing more help to the machines than actually fighting them. So I try to kind of dance between the line of aggroing the melee attack, the firewall attack, and being just about where the gun would shoot. That way, if a firewall happens, I can still anticipate it as you saw there, but if the machine gun fire happens, I can hopefully react quick enough to dodge the bulk of the shots. So after getting that tech pod out of the way, it really simplified things up for me and allowed me to focus on having consistent damage output and taking down components kind of as the fight went on here. So one thing I had kind of hoped for was to be able to take the machine gun off this guy so that he'd just become a sitting duck spamming firewalls at me. But sadly, due to just how tanky he was and probably the damage of the chain lightning, I managed to take him down way before ripping that off. Now, in regards to the chain lightning, I think I have it pretty much figured out, though I do plan on putting it through a proper test ASAP. But for now, the chain lightning seems to have a max of something like 5 arcs, and those arcs will seemingly choose at random which component to hit on the machine. Distance doesn't seem relative when it's only the one machine, but distance-wise, I'd say it's about 3 to 4 meters reach. Of course, though, I'll have solid answers for all of that probably by the end of this week. Now, for a bit of a pro tip on these lightning arcs, it's really good practice to try to gauge where the arcs are headed on the machine. You can see them pretty obviously most of the time, but sometimes when it's arcing through the body to back components, the cap, or other body components, it can be a little tricky to keep track of. But it only benefits you the better you get at this, as you can use it as a way to kind of figure out what component to hit next. So say I've seen 5 arcs hit the knee joint. Then I can go in and shoot the knee joint myself to finish it off, and have those lightning arcs focus on other components that maybe haven't taken as much damage from the previous lightning arcs. So at this point, I had figured I'd done enough damage to the body, and the next best bet for solid damage was the fuel cell on its back. So I had two methods of getting to it. Either I could run around like a maniac and get hit by a firewall or two along the way trying to peek out the fuel cell, or I could go for the EMP effect on the clock. So figuring the clock might be a safer bet, I decided to roll my luck with it and managed to get an EMP in my first magazine. The utter wombo combo of the KVM and the clock work together really nicely, and I think in the future, if I get around to doing some loadout vids, there is definitely some merit to making a loadout based on these two guns in combination. Now, at this point, the tank was basically on its last leg, and finishing it off was pretty clean. Admittedly, this was easier than I had hoped it would be, but I think lately there's been a clear sign in the community that we need a new machine to really mix things up on us. Especially after the latest player survey, I think it was one of the most talked about factors outside of grades across all the forums of Generation Zero. And I hope if we do get a new machine, it'll be even more fearsome than tanks, because nowadays they really don't pose much of a threat no matter how many bells and whistles you throw on them, from rivals to guerrilla mode. Now, let's see if we manage to get anything kinda lucky here from this tank. And we didn't. Of course. We got an experimental jacket. That's something, hey. But there you guys go, a max level rival apocalypse tank on Guerilla difficulty. If that title isn't a mouthful, I don't know what is. But hopefully you guys all enjoyed this and enjoyed the little bit of theory talking about, like, you know, tactics and the chain lightning and stuff like that. I really do plan on knuckling down on that KVM vid very, very soon. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. Hopefully you guys all enjoyed, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Until then, peace.